Well, hello again, and welcome back to another edition of Austin's American Flyer, where today we have a special guest. This is Debbie, and Debbie has recently delved headfirst into American Flyer, and I've been following her progress, which has been stellar, amazing, and fast. She's a quick study, and she was kind enough to let me borrow her for a little bit because I'm really curious to hear about her story and how she landed with Flyer. I don't know of any other women that are really into Flyer. And so Debbie's, I'm sure, not the only one, but I thought, well, let's get her name out there, and we'll see if there's any other folks that want to jump on board. And so Debbie, with that introduction, if you would tell us a little bit, how in the world did you get connected with Flyer?
Hi, Austin. Yeah, so it's actually pretty simple. This set that I'm working on was my grandfather's. And while I was growing up a long time ago, I used to go spend a week to 2 weeks at my grandparents' house every single summer. And this is before internet, before cell phones. So, you kind of had to make your own fun. And he had this huge train set up in the basement. And the memories I have of the hours and hours and hours I would spend in the basement, playing with the trains, working with my grandfather. He was a big fanatic, and I never knew. I just knew we had a train set and it was so much fun. So when he passed, I got this huge trunk, literally an old army trunk filled with trains. And at the time I was living in a townhouse, no basement. I had no room for it. So I just put it in a storage area. Then I moved, got married, and I gave the trunk of stuff to my sister, who at the time had a son, thinking she would get it set up. Nope, it sat in her attic, basement, wherever it was, for so many years. And one day I said to her, you know what, I'm coming through and I would really love the train set back because I would love to set it up and get it running. And she said, you know what, I wouldn't bother. She said, I took it somewhere and they said either it wasn't worth getting it running or it was too far gone. I couldn't remember exactly what she said. Yeah. I'm like, you know what, let me check in my area. Maybe I have something here. Took everything home, took that big old nasty trunk home with me. It smelled. Oh my gosh, the smell. So brought it home and it sat in my basement again for another 2 years.
Okay.
And I can't remember what got me interested. And one day I said to my husband, I need to get the trains out and I need to see what I can see. I started joining all the Facebook groups. I started seeing what I could see. And that kind of is the beginning of the story.
Okay. Oh my word. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So I have American Flyer because it was my grandfather's and I wouldn't go anywhere else.
Okay. All right. I'm sold. Oh, that's great. So, all right. So this is really interesting because you're in a sense new, but yet experienced. So as you kind of launched yourself back or dove head first back into this world of Flyer, you mentioned Facebook. Where are you finding places to get information and questions answered and whatever? Where are you finding the best places for that?
I probably am in about 10 different American Flyer slash S gauge, because my American Flyer is all S gauge groups. So there's one and I can't remember the name of it specifically, but it's S gauge repairs and fix it or something like that. So I look at that one when I have a specific question about repairing one of these machines back here that I have no idea where to even begin. I've got some great books, some great resources. And then there's another one that's just American Flyer Models, I think it's called. That's just strictly American Flyer. Then we have all, of course, the buy and sell pages, which I get lost in every day looking for stuff, more stuff. but people are so incredibly helpful. I am amazed at how helpful and non-judgmental they are. If I
Okay.
ask a stupid question, not that any question is really stupid, but if I ask a question that they probably were asked a million times, how do you clean track? What's the best way to clean track? How many times have you been asked that, Austin, right?
Oh, no one asked me because they don't want my opinion. No. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Are these groups on Facebook, or where do you find?
They're all on Facebook, every single one of them. And like I said, I have the books too.
Okay. All right. And please, you showed me some of those books. Why don't you put them in front of the camera so we can see what books you're talking about?
Sure. I've got the Gilbert American Flyer S-Gauge Repair and Operating Guide. This is by Thomas Barker.
Okay. 4th edition.
Yep.
Yep.
And that is all color, which I love because apparently he had other books. There you go. He had other books that were not in color. So I appreciate the color, pages that he has. Very, very helpful walk through step by step how to take something apart, put it back together again.
Excellent.
And then the other book, which I also found extremely helpful and continue to find helpful, is the Complete Service Manual by K-Line.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the other one. So I got this through a train supplier, I guess you call them, or store called Trains and More.
Trains and More. Yep.
Trains and More.
Yep.
Very, very helpful folks. They found it for me at a really good price. And I love this because this has actual wiring guides and guides on part numbers. And when we took the 312 locomotive apart, we didn't know where some of these pieces went to go back together again. And having the diagrams in there was extremely helpful as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I just want to stop us right there. This is something that I've emphasized more than once, and everyone does it, but you always viewers, if you're doing a repair, it is such a good idea to have your camera on video or be taking pictures, because like Debbie ran into, it's like, uh-oh, I don't remember where that went, or it looks like it could go there, but not sure. So anyhow, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I could. And the funny thing is I had my camera there because I went through the same thing, right? And I was taking still photos. Video would have been better.
Video, yep, sometimes.
But I got so excited about taking something apart, I would forget to pick the camera up and take another picture. And then we'd be putting it back together and go, oops, we forgot, does this go this way or this way,
Yeah.
And here's another helpful tip. Get yourselves, viewers, one of these amazing boxes where when you take things apart, you put the pieces in each slot as you go. And I actually made these papers to go in each slot so I knew where it came from. Brilliant. So, because you don't want to just throw all your pieces on a table because you'll never know what screws went where.
Brilliant. So someone who's organized. What?
Oh, I'm crazy organized. That was my job before, was to keep the company organized.
Okay. All right. Keeping the ship shape. So a 312, those can be kind of hard engines. Does yours have the smoke in the tender by chance, or is it the smoke above the motor, in front of the motor?
It's the smoke in the boiler. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had no idea that was one of the most difficult engines to take apart. I just picked that one because it had looked like it was in the best shape. And I was like, yeah, let's try this one. And somebody told me later, that's one of the most difficult trains to take apart. I'm like, I had no idea. Yeah. And we had multiple problems with it too.
I I got one of those from a friend of mine that he actually gave it to me with the caveat. He said, I'm not sure what the history of this engine is, but I think it needs some help, and you can have it. And I was like, oh, good. I have a series right now the last posting was number 8, and it's not done yet because it's just been such a journey. Because those are challenging.
A journey is a good word.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Deb, okay, so we know you got a 312. what kind of, you mentioned you got a whole trunk full. What was in the trunk? What other flyer things?
So I have 2 312s.
Okay.
And for some reason, my grandfather took the tender, which is the coal truck, coal car at the back, off of the other 312 and put a Casey Jones tender on it. I have no idea why yet. I haven't taken anything else apart. I started on the first 312. I have 2 21085s.
Okay.
And I have 1 Casey Jones. So I had 5 locomotives.
Okay. Awesome.
I have enough track downstairs to create a large oval, which is now put together.
Okay.
And I bought some additional track to continue making more track, more layout. It had oh my gosh, my favorite piece of all. And the very first thing I took apart was the whistling billboard with the Barnum and Bailey and Ringling Brothers Circus logo on it. I will tell you, for multiple reasons, that was the best memory, because number one, I remember always blowing that whistle as a kid. And number two, my parents always took me to that circus in New York City. I grew up in New Jersey.
Wow. Wow.
So for multiple memories, I'm like, this, if nothing else works in this train set, I need this billboard working. Took it apart, no help, put it back together again, cleaned it out. It was all gunked up, as everything is. And it works beautifully now.
Does it? Oh, that's fantastic.
I have that. There were a number of, there was a tunnel that I believe my grandfather made out of the old school paper mache with newspaper dipped in the old glue stuff. It's a little bit damaged, but I'm going to try to restore it. There are a number of American Flyer accessories. That's what we call them. There's a number of American Flyer accessories. One is a railroad crossing.
A highway crossing? Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Crossing. Does it have the crossing gate?
Yes, it has the crossing gate that would go over across the road, and it's supposed to have the little gate that goes off the back. That's missing. Okay. And then it has the little building that goes on it, and the roof was missing. Trains and More, they found me a roof.
And the gates too, right?
And everything was there. They didn't have the back gate. They didn't have that, but the front gate, the big gate, was there. Okay. It came with it, but they found me a roof, so I have that. I haven't tried to make that work yet. Okay. There were a couple of Plasticville buildings. Yeah. Again, old. Melted and bent and everything. I got my old blow dryer out. I'm trying to bend it back in shape, gluing it. That's a hot mess. Yeah. Let's see. I've got a couple of switches. I've got some curves and straight track, a bunch of different track, and a bunch of other pieces, parts. I still don't even know what they all are. Okay. All right. Well, when we're done with this recording, if you want, I'll take you on a tour of my layout, and we can talk about some of the accessories and maybe connect some dots for you. So that'd be great. Yeah. All right. All right. Awesome. Well, Debbie, I tell you what, I am inspired with your tenacity and with your story. One of the things that I find probably the best piece of Flyer is the stories connected with things. And you talked about the memories of your grandfather. So when you're doing these things, you're reliving some of those childhood memories and sharing them with your husband and hopefully others that come by will experience some of that too. So that is really cool. That's really cool. Awesome. 100%. I love it. And the more I get into it, the more I'm excited about it. Wow. So, okay. So you've got the memory piece. You're diving into repairs. What about, are you looking forward to running the trains or do you look forward to this putting together scenery? I mean, what aspects of the hobby do you find yourself kind of like, oh, I can't wait to get to whatever? Yeah. I've seen there's American Flyer Modelers is another group that is mostly people who are running American Flyers and are more about the scenery than about the trains.
Yeah.
I'm more about the trains. I
Okay.
do want scenery. I want to build tunnels and bridges, and I actually found a couple of trestles on eBay. I bought, the original S gauge American Flyer trestles.
Uh-huh.
So those types of things, I am looking the most forward to running the trains, but also to creating a track layout that will allow me to enjoy running the trains, and they're not just going around in a big circle.
Gotcha.
Tunnels and bridges, and
Okay.
because
Yeah.
real life isn't a flat surface, right?
Well, here in Indiana, it's pretty flat. But anyhow, yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Debbie. What if you could say something as kind of a newbie to the hobby, that you'd some nuggets of wisdom or nuggets of experience that you've had already that you want to share with everyone else, what would they be? However many words you want to use, obviously, or maybe that's too big of an ask, but
No,
yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
So I guess, first of all, if you're somebody sitting out there that has a trunk of dirty, smelly old trains or track or anything, get it out and look at it. See what you have. Join one group, American Flyers, something that says American Flyer on it, or whatever brand trains you have. Find a group on Facebook.
Okay.
Join the group, learn about it, and just see what you have. It doesn't take a whole lot to get them running again. This is week 2, I think, for me. And I do full-time rescue work with a dog rescue, Big Fluffy Dog Rescue. Got to put a plug in there for them. I work full-time for them. And so I do this kind of part-time on the side. And I love just learning about them.
Mm-hmm.
Take the time to learn about what you have.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the people who have been there before you. That would be the biggest nugget I could say, is don't just jump in headlong. Start reading and researching, and listen and read and watch YouTube videos.
Okay.
And learn from the people who have been there before you, because they know. They really know. There are 100 good ways to do something.
Yeah.
And probably that one wrong way you can find it, I will find it if I'll listen to stuff first.
All right. Well, thank you, Deb. That's very appreciated. I just love it. This is fantastic. Well, thank you again for sharing with us today. And if you're willing, I'd like to revisit your progress in another, I don't know, month or two, although as fast as you're going, that might be too long. But if you're open to it, we'll visit again and see what all you've done, see what you've accomplished.
100%. Right now, I'm a little bit on hold because I had to order some parts again. The fingers on my 312 broke, so I have to wait for a new set to come in.
Yep.
And so my 312 is even on hold right now.
Okay.
We'll get there. Yeah, you can. I'll be happy to talk to you anytime.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in today. I hope you've enjoyed our little journey down a newbie's memory lane, and Debbie is just tearing into this stuff. So I'm sure I'm not alone in being anxious to see what all she accomplishes in the near future. So until next time, take care, God bless, and enjoy your flyer. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Austin.
Thank you.